Welcome back to part 2 of the series. Today I'm going to tell you about the Young Farmer loan that I use. That's the first one that I used. There's 2 different loan programs that I've used to do this, and I'm going to highlight both of them because I think both of them are very, very good, and I highly encourage you to check out both of them. And I'm going to give you the pros and cons to dealing with both of them. So the first one is the one I started with. So hopefully you watched the introduction video. You may notice similar attire shooting these 2 videos together. But so in the intro, I mentioned I bought 81 acres back in 2015. So I wrote down, I kind of was looking to see if stuff had changed because it is 2022 now. I don't think a lot has changed with it, still very similar. So back in 2015, when I wanted to buy this, again, I had really no capital. Whoa, we had a flash there in the power. That was weird. All right, so anyways, the first way that I was going to go about doing this was I had some people recommend to me the Young Farmer's Loan. Now, there's a few ways you got to qualify. It's not as simple as just going and showing up, telling them, hey, I want to buy a farm, and they say, here you go. No, you have to qualify for this. And I want to say it was 3 years of filing a Schedule F tax return, or you had to have, that's one of the routes. I would encourage you, look into that. I am no tax expert, but look into the Schedule F thing. I want to say if you had filed for 3 years, you qualified, or you needed proof that you had been working in ag for like 3 years. Now, some of you are going to say, well, how the heck am I going to do that? All right, if you want to get into farming, then I highly encourage you to go work for a farmer. That's the best way to learn. You're going to see how they do things. You're going to learn the processes, the timing of things, this and that. That's the route to go. Now, this, with the Young Farmer's Loan, you do have to have this. The other loan that I'm going to talk about later, you do not have to have this. So if you're like in an immediate crunch, you want to do this right now, and you don't have this three-year criteria you can meet, unless they've dropped it. I'm pretty sure they haven't. I'll put a link in the description below for the Young Farmer's Loan, so you can go check it out. You can contact your local agent. That's another thing I was going to say. There is most likely an FSA. FSA stands for Farm Service Agency. There is most likely one in your area. If you have trouble finding it, search United States Department of Agriculture. See if there's one in your town or nearby. That's who you'll want to go talk to. USDA, FSA side. But I'll put it, like I said, I'll put a link in the bottom for this loan where you can check it out, look at it yourself. But anyways, this loan in particular, you've got to have this background. Now, how do you get that? You go work for a farm. Work for a farm for 3 years. I think it's a 3-year minimum. This is going to help you. There's no negative to this. I get it. Time is of the essence. It's, you know, we're all dying from the moment we're born. I hear you. But it's only going to help you to go learn how to farm. And the thing about it, man, I think you can get the farmer to sign off. There's different ways, but you got to have some qualifications for this. Now, what is the perks to the Young Farmer Loan? Why is it any different? Okay, first, the big one, like I've said, is the down payment factor. I had no down payment. I think they did want to put up something, and I actually had an old tractor, an old 1066 International that was my dad's at the time, but it was only valued at like $5,000. And I want to say it was put up for collateral. I still don't really understand why, but essentially $5,000 on a farm that was going to cost me about $200,000. And the first farm I bought, 81 acres, was about $215,000. And I had to fork up around $5,000 worth of collateral. Now, you know, heck, if you're watching this, you may could even do it with your truck. You know, if you got a pickup truck, they're going to want probably some collateral in there. I've noticed anytime you deal with FSA, they want to put a lien on something or they want some collateral on this. Like if you pay this off and you're going to go redo a loan with the FSA, they're going to want to have something to hold on to. But the down payment thing is huge. Really no down payment. Might want some collateral, but you're not forking up the cash. Second, very long terms. You can get up to a 40-year term. This is really big because you can buy a nice farm. Most of your farm loans are going to be around 30 years max. They're going to probably want you to stay 20 to 25 years in that range. If you're in a position where you're growing, you don't have a lot of extra capital, it's going to be hard to do that. But on a 40-year term, you can really spread those payments and you can get them down really low. You can, in the case I was in, I bought the farm at such a good deal that I was actually paying per acre what I would rent the farm for, pretty much. That's one of the things I strive for. If I can buy a farm for what I would pay to rent the farm, doing pretty good. So that's what you want to kind of focus on, 40-year term. Another huge perk with this is super low interest rate. It's something crazy, like 4% lower or 4 points lower than whatever the normal is. Like, I want to say I've got a 2%, 2 point something percent interest rate on my young farmer's loan. It will not go below 1.5%. But I mean, good Lord, you're really going to be looking at probably a 2 to 3% interest rate, which is crazy, especially on a 40-year term. I don't know if people realize how wild that is. That is phenomenal. The maximum for land that I can figure out on the direct farm ownership side is $600,000. Now, $600,000, I did not spend it all at once. I kind of bought first farm, bought another farm, spread it out. Cool thing about it is you have 10 years. When you do your first purchase with the young farmer's loan, you have a 10-year time span to use the money. After that 10 years is done, you're no longer considered a young farmer. You're out of the program. It goes to just a standard like direct ownership loan, that kind of thing. So the cool thing is, as you pay it back, it builds back up. Like, let's say if you buy a $400,000 farm, well, obviously you have $600,000 left, or $200,000 left out of the $600,000. 5 years from now, you've done put $100,000 towards that other farm. Well, now you have added $100,000 to the amount you could do. You could go buy a $300,000 farm. Hopefully I explained that well for you guys. But as you pay back into it, it rebuilds. But again, you've got a 10-year time span to make something happen. The other side of the coin with that is you also can get up to $400,000 operating loan. This is going to be your input cost. You know, like for me now, I operate out of a line of credit, a revolving line of credit. I don't have to re-up an operating loan every year. You know, like at the end of the year when I was on this kind of operating loan, you'd have to resubmit a loan package and all these things, which will get to the big negative. So again, a young farmer loan, it's awesome. $600,000 on land, $400,000 on operating loan. You can use that, I think, even towards equipment. So help you get some tractors, planter, combine, whatever. You can start using that on your equipment side of things. Still get the benefit of the no down payment, get the benefit of the longer terms and the low interest rate, all of that. And, once you get kind of the qualifications down, it's not too bad getting into it. What is bad is the freaking paperwork. Man, that's a nightmare. The paperwork on the FSA side is an absolute nightmare. I don't even remember how many pages of application it was, maybe 50. It might have seriously been 50 pages of application. I'm going to say it'd be 30 on the low side, probably more along the lines of 50 different pages. They will want to know absolutely everything that there is to possibly know about you. Like if you ate cereal for breakfast back in 1997, they want to know in this application. That is how insanely ridiculous the paperwork is. That is why a lot of guys end up going with the loan option number 2, which is the one that's going to come in the next series or the next video. I'm going to discuss it. But the pain of the paperwork, the big question, I guess, would be, is this loan worth going through the headache of the paperwork? And I would say absolutely. For a new guy in the operation world, of the farming world, you know, once you're established, a lot of guys, the way it kind of goes typically, a lot of guys start with FSA because you can get qualified, you can get great interest rate, long terms, you more or less get your foundation set. And once they get some years under their belt, they usually move over to a couple of different options. And that's because they're way more friendly to use. Not saying they're not nice people at FSA, but it's much easier on the paperwork side, the re-upping side, and all those things with these other companies. Because at the end of the day, with FSA, you are working with the government, and they're slow as molasses. You know, if you need to buy something, I remember I bought several pieces of equipment through the Young Farmers Loan, and I had to actually do bridge loans through my bank because it was going to take every bit of 90 days to get the money. Whatever day period they tell you on FSA, you can pretty much expect it to run the full span of that. Meaning, like, if you go take out a loan and they say it's going to take 90 days to do this, you can pretty well bet it won't finish early. It'll take 90 days. So that's the Young Farmers Loan. Don't let the paperwork stop you, but I wanted to be honest, because honestly, the paperwork is a nightmare. So go into it prepared to have to provide an absolute boatload of information to them. All of your finances, every single bit of that has to be turned over. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in there. That's really the big gist of it. But you'll work directly with an agent up at FSA, you know, and they're helpful. You know, they'll help you. They will help you go through the application. For the most part, the ones that I've dealt with are. But they'll guide you with that. And, you know, there's some cool programs. They're going to help you get in some of the programs. Like you'll be linked up with NRCS, which is National Resource and Conservation. I ought to know it, but I always just refer to it NRCS. They're in the same building as FSA in our area. It's just the Soil Conservation Office. Is the easier way of putting it. You know, they can help guide you with that. There's a lot of perks and benefits to working with FSA. The biggest headache is how slow they are, the paperwork, and you know, re-upping that operating loan. It's just not near as streamlined, but it is a great foundation. So that is the route I encourage a lot of guys to go initially. Now, in the next video, I'm going to discuss the second loan that I used, and it's a very, very good route to consider as well. It is neck and neck with this one, and it is a hell of a lot easier to do. But again, there is pros and cons to all of them. Like I said, I mentioned the cons: speed, paperwork, those things. With FSA side of stuff, they're going to want to take out a lien on some things of yours. They're going to want some collateral. And once they get it, they don't really like to relinquish a lot. But that's going to be on the Young Farmers Loan. But again, you're getting $600,000 on land, $400,000 on operating loan and equipment, 40-year terms, super low interest rate. It's a great way to start. And that is exactly how I started. $210,000 loan, 40-year term, something like 2.5% interest rate. Boom. And I still have it. Here I am, 2022. I have not refinanced. I haven't changed that. I still have it on the same exact terms that were set up then. I did survive the paperwork, so you can too. But guys, check it out. I will put the description or a link for it in the description below. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification so you can keep up with the next one. I'm going to tell you about the next loan I used in the next video. So guys, thank you, and hope you have an awesome one. Hope you enjoyed this. Shoot me a comment below. Let me know any questions you have. If you've got some questions specifically about the Young Farmers Loan that I did not address, then please let me know. I also will add, there is some additional perks if you're in the minority, if you're, I think women, African American, among those, the minority groups, you can get a little even sweeter package than the standard. So it's definitely worth looking into. Shoot me a comment below if you enjoy this, if it's helpful, if it's inspired you, you're getting ready. And guys, look forward to sharing in the next video what you can expect on the other loan option.